Welcome back to Statesman.com, everybody, and another edition of our High School Blitz. And Thomas, today we're going to be talking about the 4 best games, at least in our estimation, of the weekend. So let's start from the very top. Cedar Park, Hutto.
Well, we saw how good Cedar Park was last week when they demolished previously unbeaten Conley team. But Hutto, they're 6-2. They may be the second best team in that district. They lost to Georgetown on a late field goal. They lost by 5 points to Conley, but they've won 4 games in a row since then. Their quarterback, Chase Griffin, leads the area in passing with 2,348 yards through the air. Their running back, Deron Milligan, is a playmaker. They'll score some points against Cedar Park, maybe 10 or 12.
Let's not go too far.
Cedar Park wins big again.
I think Cedar Park will win big. I think Hutto will score more than 12. You mentioned Milligan, 19 touchdowns. The guy has really come on. Griffin, fantastic passer, 23 touchdowns. But Cedar Park is a monster, number 2 in the state.
Should be number 1.
Should be number 1. I agree. I picked them number 1. 24 straight victories beginning of last year. That means Coach Carl Absek is 24-0. He's never going to lose a football game. And what makes him strong, especially strong, the defense is holding their opponents to 6 points a game, whereas Hutto gives up 26 points a game. I see Cedar Park, as do you, fairly comfortably.
And don't forget, Cedar Park has 5 shutouts this season, which ties a school record for that Black Rain defense. Impressive.
I bet you they're going to break that. Stony Point and McNeil, 2 teams that have had up and down seasons, but I know Stony Point at least has playoff aspirations.
Well, look, there's 2 teams in that district. Cedar Ridge has all but clinched the district title. Round Rock will finish 2nd. So Stony Point and McNeil, the winner of this will be in a good shape to make the playoffs. And this is Stony Point's last game. They have a bye in the regular season from that last week.
The bye is going to help them, especially if they do make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're playing good defense. They've only given up less than 14 points a game in the last 2 weeks. And McNeil just doesn't score that many points. I think Stony Point wins this.
It's funny because McNeil has shown signs, glimpses of brilliance at times this year, but they still haven't won 2 games in a row. Stony Point, they have won their last 2 games in a row. I like the momentum. I like Stony Point. Here's a good one from the area. Giddings, LaGrange. Before the season, that might have been game of the year, but things change. Who do you like?
Well, since a 1-point loss to Brownwood in their non-district finale, Giddings has scored at least 40 points in all 3 games, all wins. They're on fire. Jason James, is one of the most versatile playmakers in the area. He leads the Buffaloes in receiving, in rushing, and interceptions, and he's 2nd on the team in tackles. And we all know about LaGrange is still trying to find some offense without J.K. Dobbins, the Ohio State pledge, who's been out for the year with a bad ankle. I think Giddings wins. I think they have too much firepower. LaGrange is a tough team. They'll play well at home. Their linebacker, John Garza, is one of the best defensive players you haven't seen play, but Giddings has too much firepower.
I agree, and you mentioned Dobbins, the Ohio State running back. He broke his leg and twisted his ankle first game of the season. They say that one player doesn't make a team, but consider this. LaGrange last year averaged 35 points a game. LaGrange this year averages 16 points a game.
Wow.
They do not score enough to win this game. Giddings is on a roll, 3 in a row. They were averaging 44 points during that span. I like Giddings, maybe 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Last but not least, 2 teams that really have a chance for the playoffs, especially San Marcos is undefeated. San Marcos in district. San Marcos is playing host to Anderson.
Well, on paper, like you said, San Marcos hasn't lost in district. Anderson's 3-5, not an impressive record, but every one of Anderson's losses have come to teams that will make the playoffs. They're a better team than people realize. Coach Jeff Rhodes has a balanced and diverse offense. They have 2 running backs, Riley McCarty and Coy Fulmer, that have at least 400 yards rushing. I think they win. I think San Marcos has a tough quarterback named Tyler Moreno, and they're a scrappy team. But I think Anderson will outscore San Marcos, and I think Anderson gets a key win that'll really help their playoff push.
Well, good luck to the Trojans, but I'm going to go with San Marcos. They've won 4 in a row. Jamon Johnson has turned into one of those running backs who is really good that we haven't talked about much this year. More than 1,000 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns. On the flip side, I like Anderson's quarterback, Trey Lundquist. 189 yards passing a game for a team that you don't think of as always explosive.
Yeah.
But Anderson's offense is way ahead of their defense. It's going to be a good, close game. I like San Marcos, not in an upset. I like them to go 4-0 and make the playoffs. I still think Anderson makes the playoffs too, by the way. And that'll do it for this edition of the High School Football Blitz. Please join us next week when we go over this week's games. And thank you for joining us all year. And as we like to say in our business, we hope your favorite team wins.